So I wanted to take a moment to welcome some of the new libraries that have been or gone live after implementation recently within the last month or so. So I don't know if every one of them is here right now, but welcome to the Ramapo Catskill Library System in New York. Welcome to Franklin County in Pennsylvania. We also have Payson City from Utah, and they've done a really awesome job with their site. They used Web Builder a ton, so their site looks really cool. Welcome to Helen Plum from Illinois, and welcome to Orem from Utah. So next, I'm going to turn it over to Lauren to talk about the AspenCon update.
Okay, so we had a close race, I believe, for the location, but we settled on Aurora, Colorado, which is basically a suburb of Denver. So you'd fly into Denver. That should work. There are 3 of us that live near here, so we should be able to plan that well. And we're looking at the first or second week of March in 2024. And we will have an in-person component, but also an online component if you can't make it in person. If there's anything else I forgot to add, let me know.
So thank you so much for that update. For anyone who is like, what is going on? We're talking about AspenCon. This is in 2024. It's going to be the first AspenCon ever. So of course we will be giving more details as they arise, but very exciting going to Colorado. Woo. All right. I wanted to make a little announcement that the next community meeting, so this is libraries using Aspen meeting with each other to talk about issues that are important to you and sharing ideas and things. That community meeting is next on January 17th at 11 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to pop another link to the agenda in the chat for anyone who has joined since we started. That has a link to the community news and calendars. So if you want to attend the next community meeting, there is the date and time and the Zoom link to join on there. Next, I'm going to turn it back over to Jordan to talk about Aspen priority planning and review.
Thanks, Morgan. Okay, you all know it's January 5th and we're at the Aspen Gathering. So what we do every month is we like to do a quick review of what we said we were going to do or what our plans were for the month and then what we actually got done. Just to kind of hold us accountable and also give us a chance to talk about any changes that kind of happened over the course of the month. So you can see on the left there, that's what we said we were going to do. And then on the right, we actually got quite a bit of it done. We always start with our partner priorities and high priority bugs. You saw a bunch of stuff related to linked accounts. And that was something that came out of the community and something the community really wanted were changes to those linked accounts. Updates to the name fields, anything that people requested as we started to work on this is done. So this is preferred name or pronouns, those kinds of things. We did a general call to anyone that knew of functionality in an ILS. So they weren't necessarily requests, but things that we thought we could do. We're still cleaning up a few of those things we thought we could do and investigating APIs, because with those, a lot of times it depends on what the APIs let us do. But anything that was put in as a ticket is done on that one. Shared Aspen development tasks. So this is kind of a long-term thing that we're doing in order to give all of you more transparency into what bugs have already been reported, what features have already been requested. It's an integration with the request tracker, our ticketing system. The other thing that this will let us do is make it easier to share development amongst other developers that want to work with us. So we got some stuff on that done, but it's going to be, I'm taking it off the list, I think, because we're just picking it off a little bit at a time here and there as we can. But you'll see some of the fruits of that labor actually in a little bit. You saw the linked account barcodes in LIDA, which was one of our top LIDA requested things. Email notifications for saved searches. We realized as we looked into this a little bit more that it's essentially what we want to do is almost build like an email builder into Aspen to allow for this. And it's just a little bit of a bigger project to do it the way we want to than we want to take on right now. So we postpone that for now. We can certainly come back to it. If your heart's sinking and you hear about that, let me know. We always want that feedback, but that just to let you know, that was a decision we made so we can tackle some of the things we're going to talk about in a minute. You saw the rest of the stuff on this list. Our stretch goals, most of those we got done with the website indexing and the reading history. And then we added 2 that we didn't talk about that for the performance enhancement, and then we wanted to do it anyway, was that single place hold button for the grouped work in LIDA and that big upgrade to PHP 8 that Mark talked about earlier. For the next release, we are going to take a little bit of time to, you can see we did a whole bunch of last release. If you saw today's Aspen Weekly, you can see that we did a whole bunch this year. We want a chance to tackle some of our highest priority bugs, especially the bugs that you've been prioritizing. We took some time with what Mark did in the greenhouse. I was able to get a lot better statistics, so I can see better when you've ranked a bug as one of your top 3 priorities, and whether those are high priority bugs, meaning like they impact users a lot, or lower priority where it's just like, man, maybe like there's a little space that's in the way, but it's super annoying to you, so you made it a priority. So we're going to be tackling some of those bugs, some of those partner priorities, and then feature cleanup. So a lot of times when we release a feature, we say it's done because we think it's done, and then we get a little bit of feedback from people like, oh, it'd be really great if it did this, or it didn't quite work the way we thought it would. And we just want to take a little bit of time to catch up and make sure that we are not neglecting that we really truly can call some of those features done, and that we're cleaning up those little pieces that tend to happen after we've released the feature. I have on here Aspen events form planning for that. I'll talk about that actually on the next page. And then the thing that is kind of our stretch goal for this month is translation support for LIDA. Most of you know that LIDA right now is only available in English, and we want to make all of the same translation functionality available so that you can adjust the wording to be whatever you want it to be. And so of course it's available in all of the same languages as Aspen Discovery. Okay, so back to the work that Mark's been doing in the greenhouse so that we can have more transparency into get some more statistics on all of the requests for all of you. I put together this slide called Aspen Priorities by the numbers, just so you can see what the beginning of that transparency into what people are requesting. Anytime you put in a ticket, we label it according to what feature it relates to. So the top ones are the ones you're seeing on the left there under feature. And then I'll go through each of these columns as we go. So the first column is number of priority tickets and priority score. So what that means for that 10/26 is that there were 10 tickets that were put in a partner's top 3 priorities. So, I mean, it could be 3 of them for one library, but 10 tickets in the top 3 priorities. And then the second is a priority score. It lets me understand if it's a top priority, if it's your number 1, it gets a 3 times multiplier. If it's a number 2, it gets a 2 times multiplier. And if it's a number 1, it doesn't get a multiplier, to help me kind of weigh what areas we need to work on basically within Aspen. So you can kind of see those, how they line up there. The number 1 thing there is for interface updates usability, which is interesting. It's not something that we hear a lot about, but we are starting to get more and more on it. If you go kind of across, you'll see that those numbers are high across the board. So then I look at the number of bug tickets, because that's another indicator that we need to maybe focus on an area in Aspen. And you can see with the asterisk in the number of bug tickets column that searching may be something where we want to look. Searching and grouped works, sometimes those go together. It's difficult to kind of pull those apart. And just so you know, we can assign more than one category to something. So I'm kind of thinking of those together, and we should be looking at searching and grouped works. And I know that's something that was talked about a lot at the last community meeting. So that's going to be a priority for this year too. The next column is just number of development tickets. And this is just indicates an area where people want to see a lot of new things. And you can see that interface updates and usability, mostly interface updates there, really just kind of blew it out of the water. So we're definitely going to be looking at that too. Last month, we asked you to complete a survey, and we didn't get a whole lot of survey responses. The ones we got were all positive, most very, very positive in terms of what we're doing. So I'm not too concerned we didn't get a lot. We can analyze this here, but I did want to share the results of that survey in terms of the top 3 things that people were requesting, because we asked you to rank your top 3 again. And I applied the same weightings here. So for your number 1, it got 3 points, number 2, would get 2 points, and then your lowest priority got 1 point. So the number one thing there was grouped works, which reflects what we're hearing out of the community meeting. So those top 3 things, interface updates, searching, and grouped works, are things that we're definitely going to be looking at in the next year. And we'll probably also look at the things below as well. So again, this is trying to make it transparent, trying to give you a little bit more insight into what everyone else is thinking about and talking about as we work towards getting you access to be able to see each other's development requests and bug tickets. Any questions on that? Check in the chat. Sam wants to use Bugzilla. Yeah, Bugzilla is great. I think we like the integration with RT, and being able to integrate it directly into Aspen is something that we've talked about there. But yeah, I do like how the Koha community uses Bugzilla. Anything else there? Okay. Oh, missed one. Okay, so I did want to, we also don't really do roadmaps here. So if you are one of the new libraries, we like to talk about having flexibility and make sure that we're always working on the right thing rather than predicting what the right thing is going to be a year from now. There's no way we're going to know. The pandemic taught us all of that. So we just try to keep all of you updated in what we're working on next. So these are, it says priorities under consideration for 2023, just to kind of give you a preview. So we talked about, or I said I would talk about events in Aspen and Lida. We've had a couple of different libraries come to us and say they really would like us to build a basic events platform, to the point where that's something that we've decided is a good thing for us to do. And we're gonna start working on that. We also want to make sure that with Aspen, you don't have to use our things. You have the choice to use whatever platform you want. That's why we have the existing events integrations that we do. And we're also going to be working on a Communico integration. So if you work with any of the Communico apps events or the other apps, we'll also be doing that integration this year. The next one came directly out of the stats that we just looked at, as well as feedback from the community group reviewing the interface and grouped work searching requests. We always try to integrate all of the e-content resources. That's another one of the goals of Aspen. So the next e-content resource that we're going to be working on is the Palace project integration. And like I said, I know a number of you have been asking about that. There's a big update coming for Koha 2211. So we do need to make sure that Aspen is compatible with that, and that it's taking advantage of everything that's available within that ILS. And I put this on here as a reminder to myself too, to make a call out to all of you that are not on Koha. We have a lot of transparency into Koha and kind of what's coming out there. We don't necessarily into the other ILSs. We definitely rely on you to let us know, like, hey, this is coming out in the new version. It'd be great if Aspen could integrate with this piece of my ILS. So we can watch Koha, but if you work with a different ILS, please, like, keep talking with us. Let us know what the options are there, because we want to make sure that Aspen works with all the ILSs. We already mentioned translations for Lida. We're getting started on that one really soon. Checkouts from Lida is another thing that a number of libraries have been asking about. This will be like using a barcode scanner. It might roll out, we'll probably do a SIP connection for sure. Well, probably for sure. That gives you exactly where we are in it. We're researching. We would prefer to do it by API, but we understand that not every ILS is going to have a checkout API. So there's some research for us to do there. And we also will be investigating being able to make sure that those RFID tags can get deactivated. Finally, the community tools. This is what Mark has been working on. Again, that's where these statistics are coming on. This is where we're going to get, I've been talking about it, transparency into bugs and requested development. A platform for shared development. This is what I said earlier about being able to share, say like, hey, we want this new feature, and allowing people outside of the Bywater team a little bit easier way to see that and develop it, and make sure we're not doing conflicting work. We've already had a few instances of that where someone is wanting to make an improvement to Aspen and working on it. We were working on it. So we just need to make sure we're not doing that double work. And then also shared content such as manual grouped works. So as you're saying, oh, these should be grouped or these shouldn't be grouped, you'll have the opportunity to share those with other libraries if they want to use them. And of course, shared translation. So we don't have to do the manual work of sharing. A library can just say, yeah, you can have my Spanish translation, and then anyone can download it. So that was, that's a quick 2023 plan for today, we'll call it. Any questions or conversations around what we're looking at for now? And I think we'll be nice to our developers and not say that this is not just the first half of the year. This is the entire year plan. We'll get plenty of other stuff done too, but all right. Well, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions. I'm on Slack. You can reach out to me by email. We do have one normally, this is our time for conversations around just getting feedback on the features that we're doing. We did have one quick one for today. Well, maybe quick. I don't know. Maybe this is more of a conversation than I think it is. The question is around the Mark 245 subfield F, and what this is are dates, the time period for the material that is created there. Right now, we're not using this for grouping, so it's not considered part of the title. So even if those dates are different, the titles are grouping together. And this is just causing a problem if the metadata is really different for all of those bib records, because it's just hard, once they're all grouped together, it's hard to weed through them to find exactly the one that you're looking for. We know of 2 libraries that are using the 245F, and one of them is requesting this, the other one we reached out to, but we didn't want to just go ahead and do this without bringing it forward to the community. Does anyone, especially our catalogers here, and I know there are some people here, anyone have any feedback on this and how it's used and why it might be a problem if we did start to group these, not group these together based on the 245F?
Hi, this is Scott from Swan. 245F is fairly rare in our catalog, and so it's not something that I see a lot. And I actually thought it was being used because my instinct says that it should be. So I'm in favor of this change. Just wanted to say that. Awesome,
thank you. And then Brian chimed in chat, and he was Nashville is one that we knew did have some use of this field, not a lot, but some, that says their cataloging department is okay with the change. That's great. Anyone else? If you are the only representative from your oh, okay, one more. I agree. I've never seen the 245F in our records. Yeah. It seems to be pretty rare. It seems to be for special collections. I don't know. It brought serials to my mind, but I know that's not how it's typically used. So if you're panicking and you're sitting here like, I don't know, I'm scared, like my cataloger isn't here and I need to ask them, please just ask them in the next, day or two. And if this is going to cause wreak havoc on your catalog, let us know and we can talk about it some more. But this is more of a we think this is going to be fine. We're just going to double check and make sure before we just go ahead and do it. Okay. I think that's it for today. And I'll go ahead and turn it back over to Morgan.
Well, I'm just gonna pass the ball over to Elise, who has some updates for outreach stuff.
Hello. So yeah, we had a bit of a hiatus from conferences with winter, but we're getting back into it. And we will be at the Ontario Library Association Super Conference in February. So that is in the agenda, but I'll go ahead and drop a link here. We're really excited about that. That's tantamount to ALA in Canada. So if you know anybody that might be attending, let them know. Also, we are super excited about the Kansas Summit. Yep. The Kansas Summit, which is going to be February 23rd. And we held 2 summits last year. We did one in Alabama and one in Florida, and it was really great. So if you know anybody that might be interested in that, also just spread the word. It's a great way to, have partners kind of tell their experiences about Koha and Aspen. And then speaking of that, we are seeking partners for webinars. We want to have more partner-driven webinars, and we are open to the length or the format of these. They could be pre-recorded, they could be live, they could be short little 15-minute sound bites or 30 minutes or longer. So if you're interested, just email outreach@bywatersolutions.com, or you can message one of us in Slack. The summits, no, I don't, Jesse, they're not going to be virtual at all, right? Yeah, no. So, and then ALA this year, we will be looking for partners to possibly present with us. So again, email us or message us on Slack if you're interested about that. And yeah, I think that's it for me, unless you have anything, Jesse, to add.
If you are interested in attending the summits, we had one in Florida last year that we did stream. Contact us and we can set up a link that we can share with you.
Thank you so much, Elise and Jesse. I guess this brings us to open time. Does anyone have any questions about anything we've gone over today, or anything that you wanted to comment on, or anything at all? This is your time. Did anyone do anything cool with Aspen for the holidays or the new year?
I saw a whole bunch of snowing headers that were really cool. People putting full width GIFs in. GIFs,
Yeah.
whichever you prefer to say.
Oh, that's gonna start a real discussion.
Yeah, sorry. Don't mean to stir the hornets, mess.
Officially, it is
GIF.
GIF, according to the person who created it.
I refuse to believe that, Chanel. Those GIF people. Okay. If no one has anything, then I guess we can end early. All right. Oh, so some people are leaving, but we have a question in the chat from Kristen. Has anyone heard back from ProQuest yet about Syndetics descriptions not showing in item view yet? We have a ticket in and no word yet. Kristen, do you have your that ticket number by chance?
So we've already talked to Bywater and Aspen about this, and they said we needed to talk to ProQuest about it, but we haven't heard back from ProQuest yet. But I was wondering if any other libraries are having difficulty with their descriptions showing, or if they've had any resolution yet, since we haven't heard back from ProQuest yet.
I've seen it with like 2 or 3 libraries, including yours. So I can dig through tickets and see, but
I was wondering if ProQuest had responded to them a bit more promptly than they appear to be responding to our ticket yet, but I was hoping there was like an easy answer that we could try on our end.
I don't know if we're having the problem. So the descriptions just aren't showing up? Is that what the problem is?
Yes, in the item view. Per Miranda's suggestion, we've been using the 520A as a backup for description, so something would show while ProQuest fixes this, or hopefully can fix this. But as soon as you click on the item, like there was no description for the things that should have been provided by ProQuest for Syndetics.
Oh. Well, if it is happening to us, no one's reported it to me yet, but I will explore now.
Which version of Syndetics do you have? We do not have Unbound. I think we just have like Classic or.
Oh, we have Unbound.
Okay, so that might be different.
Same with us. This is Swan, and we haven't seen any issues, but we are also on Unbound, I believe.
That's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm looking at some records and the descriptions are there.
Swan is actually not on Unbound.
Oh, we're not. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. But we have not. Now I have to look, but we haven't had anyone report that issue.
No, I mean, I'm in those all the time. There's never been an issue.
Yeah, I think I checked Swan because you like didn't have Unbound. So I was like, is it the Unbound thing?
I'm sorry. I'm crazy today. Yeah.
Well, for any other libraries who, if you have experienced issues and you haven't contacted ProQuest yet, do it. So maybe if they get enough people contacting them, they will figure out what's going on. Any other questions or comments or issues you wanted to talk about? I guess we'll call it then. Thank you everyone so much for coming today.